You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
Will TikTok be banned in the U.S.? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This is a common sense measure to protect our national security.
Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher urging lawmakers to approve of a bill in a vote this hour to force TikTok to get rid of its Chinese influence.
Foreign adversary control of what is becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz is at the Capitol.
The bill would give TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance 6 months to divest its stake in the video sharing platform before TikTok is banned from operating in the United States. TikTok users joined Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia and a group of lawmakers Tuesday.
Any ban on TikTok is not just banning the freedom of expression. You are literally causing huge harm to our national economy.
Now, former President Trump worries a TikTok ban will boost Facebook, which he calls the true enemy. Now, the former president posted this on Truth Social after 4 more primary and caucus wins make him the presumptive Republican nominee.
We're a nation that is in serious decline. We've never had a situation like this where we're not respected, we're laughed at, we're considered almost a joke.
President Biden also clinched the Democratic nomination and wrote in his statement the threat Trump poses is greater than ever. Now, the president says cost savings at the Pentagon are allowing the U.S. to provide another $300 million in aid to Ukraine as Russian leader Vladimir Putin again warns that he's ready to use nuclear weapons if necessary. Another Russian opposition leader has been attacked.
Leonid Volkov was the top strategist for Alexei Navalny, the critic of Vladimir Putin who died last month. Now Volkov is in hospital after an attack at his home in Lithuania. Police say an assailant smashed his car window, sprayed tear gas into his eyes and hit him with a hammer.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833
Get ready for something new and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory will bring a fresh perspective analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C. Josh will break down how each and every story affects you right here in Acadiana. He's engaging, raw, and informative, but he also knows how to have fun with daily features that'll entertain and keep you coming back for more. The Josh Guillory Show, only on News Talk 96.5 KPEL every weekday at 4 p.m. starting March 18th.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Louisiana.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma.
and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by 1% Lists Acadiana. Call Shannon LeBlanc today at 337-522-0682. Save on fees, not on service.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hi, y'all. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. It is great to be with you on Hump Day already. The week is just flying by. We appreciate you joining us. Tell a friend. 844-766-6607 is the number. It's a Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. So, later today, about the 9:30 hour, hoping to have Congressman Clay Higgins to join us. I'm just kind of curious. I put in a text. Now, usually I get a pretty quick message back. I didn't yet. Steve Scalise on, they got to explain this budget and all this spending of the money. Hoping we'll hear from Senator Cassidy. I mean, I love to hear from him. I got so much to do with Cassidy, we couldn't even talk about the budget. Hoping to hear from Senator John Kennedy, and they'll be calling soon. And I want to go back over what I went over with him last time he was on about how do we keep spending all this money. And he talked about how bad it was, but John has voted for these spending bills too. Congressman Mike Johnson is voting for these spending bills. Keeping the government open, I'm not advocating. I never advocated on this program to shut down the government. But I know this, that inflationary, they told us they will have 6 cuts in interest rates this year. They might have any because inflation is just soaring. And the American people not going to be able to handle this. And I'm talking about myself included. Because we keep printing and spending. Debt. And nobody cares. That's what's amazing right now. But boy, when it hits you, when it hits us, it's going to hit us in the face and the gut and everything else. But I know I'm talking to a lot of people that understand what I'm talking about, but there are people out there that just don't understand and don't care. We got a presidential election this year. And right now it's Biden and Trump. I don't think it's going to be Biden and Trump. It's said and done. I don't. If it is, I'm going to be shocked. I told you the left will never let President Trump. When I say the left, the world left. The world, China, the Democrats, these ignorant, never Trumpers that are some of the dumbest people who were ever born in America. I mean, they are this. I mean, I don't care how bright you think they are. I don't care how smart you think they are. I don't care how much money they made. They're some of the dumbest people ever been born. And when I see the people that are involved in that, it's just frustrating to watch. But we got a presidential election, folks, and it's this fall. We didn't have the tough debates and all that stuff going back and forth like we normally do. It's this fall we vote for president. I ran into some people the other day and said, huh? That's next year. Well, they used to having Republican and Democrat debates and primaries and caucus and all. They did have some of that. As a matter of fact, we got one, what is it, next week? But people are not focused on it. I mean, you just hope and pray people will focus on it. I know it's early. I know we're not voting till the fall. But, man, we just can't keep that. We need a normal country. And the left has made this country so much against each other, divide and conquer. That's when Barack Obama came on, that's when all this started. In a bad way. And it's just continued. They've beaten up Trump now, 5 years? This is the 9th year of beating up Donald Trump. We got people like Obama and Biden who really ought to be beaten up for what they do in this country, and they're not. They protect it. Trump made it better for everybody. Trump made it better. If you wanted a job, if you wanted to make a living, you wanted to prosper, you want to be the best we can be, we felt protected at the border. He was fighting for all that stuff. Look what these nuts have done now to this country, and it's phenomenal. And I tell you, folks, every time I hear somebody, and I read with Kennedy, and look, I like John Kennedy. I'm a fan of Mike Johnson. Y'all know that. But it's time to start challenging some of the stuff they're doing as well. I see Kennedy talk about this money being for jobs and taking care of priorities. I thought it was a $500 billion because we had to keep the government running. They create new projects and they go buy everybody all over the country. And yeah, I said buy because that's what you do with the money. There's no way that a senator or representative can come home and brag about the money they got, knowing good and well we're running up debt that's unbelievable, never to be paid back. And we're causing the prices of everything to skyrocket for the working middle class people. It's no way any of them can justify this. I mean, I wish they could, because if they could justify, but here's how they justify it. So-and-so got some money, and everybody gets that money. They think, wow, this is justifiable because they would give it to somebody else. The big picture. What about the big picture? And that's all I want to ask Kennedy and Congressman Mike Johnson as well. What's the big picture? Don't tell me, well, we got to get a president, we got to get a Senate, we got to get a House. We had that in Trump. And then you had never Republican, never Donald Trump type Republicans who were the worst kind of Republicans. We saw them in Baton Rouge the last 4 years on the Sheikh Snyder and this blank page fella, Cortez. We saw poor leadership. We saw what it did to us in the state. And, you know, we got a presidential election and you got never Trumpers. So what I'm supposed to do? Get excited to vote for Joe Biden or a Democrat who wants to take this country down to the ground? Let me tell y'all something about a country that goes to the ground that was free and it was great. It ain't coming back. And the only way it comes back is blood in the streets. You go look at any country that became free, blood in the streets, killing, shootings. I mean, just war, hell. Just call it what it is. It's hell. And that's the part I don't understand. And when I look at what's going on in our country, I mean, it's so it's frustrating to me that we don't want to be the freest country in the world. Everybody go be the best they can be. Trump offered that for 4 years, and then we made up something, COVID. That's a great piece, by the way. I don't know if I'll get to it today. Jeff Sato and the Hayride went back and looked back on COVID and the Bell Edwards years and all the fake BS him and that Canner fellow who finally left. Dr. Canner, I think he's up in Virginia somewhere. Good riddance. Edwards is gone. Well, he's not gone. He's making money on the Green New Deal now. It's just a great piece by Sato. I might try to get Jeff on how bad it was and how this made up stuff of social distancing and shutting businesses down. You know, for a month or two, I got it. After that, it was no way we should have done it. We found out that COVID did hurt some people with comorbidities and older people. We did, but the rest of the folks could have won about their lives. I mean, it's a great piece. Sato, you need to go read it. He sums up how bad Edwards did and what he did to the state. And Dr. Cano, who just came in a few months earlier, just went right along with him. And some of these people just bit into this. It really is a good way to look back. Also, somebody made a good point to me. Eric, thanks. Kennedy and Cassidy and Mike and all them voted for this $500 billion in extra spending that we don't have. It kept the tax incentives in place for all this carbon capture, crazy junk science that we're watching. If you missed it yesterday, I had Stephen Poirier. He was awesome, 11:30 to 12 yesterday. He was just awesome, talking about all his junk. This is junk science. But yet, it keep those credits in place, got the money for them, and people are taking that money and saying, the hell with what that Griffon guy's saying. I'm taking my money. My ships come in. And they got to keep them in place. And so it's things like that and like I said, I'm gonna have, hopefully, at 9:30, have Congressman Higgins. I just want to get his take on all the spending. By the way, John Blanchard would join us from Matthew James. We'll talk about money and inflation and dollars and all that stuff that I've been telling you about. Let's get his take. He's in the business. He's in the business of investing. Let him tell you. I'll try to get y'all. I don't do a whole lot of guests. When I try to get guests, I try to get good ones like John Blanchard and Higgins and people like that. I do have a call in for Steve Scalise. I don't call Hicks. I don't ever call Johnson and Kennedy and all those guys. Those guys call in. Cassidy used to call in. I never hear from him. You're psycho everywhere but here. Anyway, I got that later in the program, but I just, election's around the corner. It's going to be November when we blink. As the United States of America, I mean, if you looked at the issues, if you looked at the border, you looked at illegals, you looked at inflation, you looked at crime, Democrats have led the charge on all the things happening bad, and the never Trumpers, which are a few Republicans. The debt. This debt is massive, causing inflation from hell. We ain't seen anything yet, folks. If you don't quit doing what you're doing, how can anybody expect different results unless they go start a war, which I wouldn't put it past them. And then all of our young kids get drafted and go fight a war. It's extreme, Griffon. Well, just watch and see. You can't fix the problem. But like I said, if you're worried about the illegals, if you're worried about the border, if you're worried about the inflation, if you're worried about the debt, if you're worried about the economy, if you're worried about this Green New Deal, in New York, they may shut down over 100 pizzerias. Oh, yeah, all because of the new green rule they have there. I got that later in the story, too. What pizzerias ought to do is all shut down. See, if they all shut down at one time, I know they got to make a living. But if they all shut down at one time and just shut down, people would get mad at what they're doing in this Green New Deal. They would get mad at it, but we're not going to get mad at it if we don't have enough guts to shut them down, shut down the government for what it's doing. Anyway, all that as the program unfolds. I got a lot. I'm loaded up. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. Don't go nowhere. Hey, folks, my good friends at Stein saying, hey, come check us out. They are ready to serve you, folks. It doesn't matter. Appliances, building material, home improvements. Pick up your orders at curbside, place the order, and come pick it up. We're talking about Stein, one of those great Louisiana companies, folks. Assorted flowers and vegetables on sale. They've got outdoor power equipment sale going on right now. Outdoor living sale going on right now. You need to check it out, folks. Steinhome.com. Steinhome.com. You know it's crawfish season. You want to do your ball of crawfish? No, they don't have crawfish. They got everything to cook it. Everybody outside grilling, they got grills you're not going to believe. Grills and deals at Stein, always. Free assemblies on grills, $299 or more. It's just deals. Special financing available for 12 months. Appliances, flooring, they got it all. You need to go to Stein. You need to go today. Steinhome.com, Steinhome.com. Better brands, lower prices, guaranteed. The Louisiana company, Stein, you got to trust them. They're waiting on you. When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could Protect all most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases. Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com. Hey, y'all, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James. Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. John Blanchard. Matthew James joins us in the second hour. A lot about money, this stuff that I'm talking about. Talking about investments and positives, too, but the market, what's going to happen with the market and things of that nature. Interest rates. We're talking about 6 cuts. And I don't know if we're going to get any. But anyway. All that is the second hour of the program. Hopefully hear from Congressman Clay Higgins coming out of the 9:30 break. Somebody writes, Moon, in order for things to really change, we have to realize that Cassidy, Kennedy, even Mike Johnson, whether we like them or not, are part of the uniparity and are no good for this country. As nice as we think some of them are, they're just as corrupt as the next guy. I'm at the point now where I believe that most people in those positions are compromised and act accordingly. You know, I'm starting to hear that more and more about the good guys. And so I get it. I get it. I consider Mike Johnson and John Kennedy friends. I consider them, but I'm starting to question things, especially on the financial end of what they continue to do, because we keep saying, oh, the government can't shut down. You let the government shut down, see what happens. Okay, well, you let it keep going like this and let's see what happens. You see, so we pick our poison. But the reason we got to pick evil versus evil is because it's set up to be like that. Politicians that set it up in Washington, you pick bad or you pick worse, or you pick worse or you pick bad. I mean, what a hell of an alternative that the people that we vote for put us in this position, and we stupid enough to keep voting for them. It's a shame that we've gotten to this point. I know a lot of people going, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, just wait, you're going to see. I ain't going to miss this, because doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. And I'm watching insanity. Even when I look at the issues of the presidential race, from the border to illegals, man, this inflation thing is kicking our butt, to insurance, to crime, okay? To what they want us to do, to say a man can have a baby. I mean, come on. That's all Democrat part. The issues that we care about, Biden and the Democrats are not get 3 votes. They just lost their minds. And yet there are going to be people lined up to go vote for them. For what? If I'm in the inner city and I'm black, I'm not voting Democrat no more. Ever. For what? And by the way, I can always tell when it's a presidential election. The racism stuff has started from Will Sutton in The Advocate to Raphael Warnock, who won last year, saying with a record turnout in Georgia. They had a record turnout. They've never had that many people vote again. Warnock said yesterday, just because Georgia had record turnout doesn't mean there isn't voter suppression. Voter suppression. And Will Sutton's talking about how Trump don't like black people, and he ain't looking what the Democrat Party's done to blacks for 100 years, at least the last 50 to 60. You can always tell when it's a presidential election because the only thing in the old Democrat playbook is racism. But here's the other one. This Green New Deal is causing a lot of this inflation stuff. Over 100 pizzerias could shut down due to New York City's green rule. If 100 pizzerias could shut down, I'd shut down. I'd go tell my friends, I'll shut down a while and see what happens. City, due to government's new green rule, forcing shops that use coal and wood-fired stoves to cut carbon emission by 75%, and it's no reason. They've been doing them pizzas like that for what, hundreds of years? Ted Timmer, spokesman from the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, which ought to be closed in every place, confirmed the new rule. All New Yorkers deserve to breathe healthy air, and wood and coal fire stoves are among the largest contributors of harmful pollutants in neighborhoods with poor air quality. Give me a break. They're going to shut the pizzerias down in the name of the Green Deal. The common sense rule developed with restaurants and environmental justice groups requires a professional review of whether installing emissions control is feasible. Folks, one pizzeria said it's going to cost them bakery said it's going to cost them $600,000 to install an air filtration system. Another one would spend $100,000 for a smoke reduction system. We're told we have no choice. I mean, just break them. If you look at what the Democrats do, break you. Never nothing positive. Never anything about being the best you can be. Never. Always control your rear end. Control your rear end. There it is. Green New Deal. $600,000 they're going to cost them, man. For doing something they've been doing forever. That's not unbelievable. I think it is. And when we get back, hopefully, Congressman Clay Higgins. Take a break. Be right back. Hey, folks, this is Moon Griffon. I built my dream home. Start imagining your dream home. And when you do, make sure you call my friends or get in touch with my friends at Schumacher Homes. SchumacherHomes.com, SchumacherHomes.com. When you tour Schumacher Model Home, you're in control. Stop by during operating hours and tour at your own pace. There's a reason my friends at Schumacher have been building homes for over 30 years. They're committed to making the home building process as enjoyable, simple, and hassle-free as possible. Call them or visit them. SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com to schedule your free, no-obligation design and pricing meeting. Hey, it's an hour or two of your time working on your dream home. And my friends over at Schumacher Homes just announced some exciting news. You can get a mortgage rate as low as 2.875% when you finance with Schumacher Homes. That is 2.875% when you finance with Schumacher Mortgage. Hey, the whole Schumacher team is dedicated to making sure your dream home becomes a reality. SchumacherHomes.com, SchumacherHomes.com. Folks, remember the name All Field Equipment, allfieldequipment.com. When I say All Field, that's ALL Field.com. All Field Equipment, founded in 2016 by my good friend, Mr. Bill Allen, with over 50 years' experience in the oil and gas industry. Hey, this is a great company to do business with, whether it's production equipment, control valves, controller, glyco pumps, chemical pumps, chokes, Wilden pumps, Barton recorders. Allfield has new, rebuilt, and parts. Allfield handles some of the industry's top brands such as Norasil, Fisher, and Kimray. On the supply side, Allfield has anything from Q-tips to appliances to general Allfield supplies. Allfield is one of the largest suppliers of bottled water in the Gulf. And remember, Allfield never changes transportation. Like the name says, Allfield has it all, covering the Architects area and the Gulf of Mexico. Allfield Equipment, 337-837-1003, 337-837-1003.
LA22.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by 1% List Acadiana. Call Shannon LeBlanc today at 337-522-0682. Save on fees, not on service.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. Joined by the Honorable Congressman Clay Higgins. Congressman Higgins, always a pleasure. How you doing, sir?
I am well. Moon, it's great to talk to you, man.
Well, good to have you back with us. Congressman, I want to start here with you. I mean, I'm looking at inflation. I'm living it every day with everybody. And it's kind of ridiculous to see us continue to spend money. I know nobody wants to shut the government down, but spending this money and then
I don't mind shutting the government down.
Well, listen to this. But then we go, but I appreciate you saying that, but here's the thing. Then when we take this $500 billion, then we start talking about these new projects we got for Louisiana and all over the country, and I'm kind of going, what? I thought this was because we had a problem funding the government. Then we start new programs, I guess, or spend new money. So I just want to get your take on it because I think it's headed to hell in a handbasket if we keep doing this.
Well, what we're battling against is what I commonly refer to as establishment politicians and bureaucracy up here. Like from both parties, the growth of the federal government is like why they exist in life, and honestly, the establishment doesn't really care if it's Democrats in majority or Republicans in majority. They just want to continue to grow the government and secure the foundation of their power and influence. And as you grow the federal government, you devour the wealth of the American people. You increase the regulatory and statutory burden upon the American people, so you're decreasing the individual rights and liberties and freedoms of the American people, and you're creating a crippling debt that will take a generation to properly address. I mean, we have essentially a $35 trillion debt right now. That's $35,000 billion. So if we were to balance the budget and run a $1 billion surplus, it would require 35,000 years to address the debt we already have. And these guys are writing budgets up here that are adding $3 trillion per year to our debt. That's $3,000 billion per year is being added to our debt. And the Biden administration is talking about, taxing the billionaires. There's about $750 billion in America. They hold about $5 trillion in wealth. That's their total wealth. That's not their earnings. Yeah. That's their total wealth. So Biden just introduced a budget that's about $8 trillion for next year. So if you seized 100% of all the wealth of every billionaire in America, you would fund Biden's budget America for about 9 months.
Yeah.
That's it. So we've got to change this trajectory of spending, Moon, and some of us, I'm voting no on all of this spending until I can see a meaningful reduction of spending.
Well, let me ask you a question, because, I got a lot of respect and love for Mike Johnson and Kennedy and some of you guys that are there. But every time the budget comes up, we add a week, we add a month, we add a few months, and we right back and we do it again and we do it again, and we don't have a budget. I know Mike doesn't have the votes, but should he? Well, I don't want to put you in question, Mike. John, you got to work with Mike, and I want you to work with Mike. But is he in a tough position? Because, man, I just figured he could stop some of this. But I know that he's in a tough position because y'all had another Republican quit yesterday from Colorado. So I'm not asking you to put it on him, but I'm saying the good guys got to step up because the bad guys are winning.
Yeah, well, Mike Mike is doing a hell of a job with an impossible task, and he controls a very slim majority in the House of Representatives. We do not control the Senate. We do not control the White House. So basically, Mike controls 1/2 of 1/3 of the government. If you look at that as the House, the Senate, and the White House. So Mike is fighting a good fight, I can assure you, but ultimately, you got to pass a budget because none of us support these CRs. And these two budget packages will pass. One passed last week, the other will pass next week, and the government will be funded. It's just It's funded with an increase in spending, which I do not support, and it's funded with policies that have been stripped of conservative language, basically. The conservative language that we worked so hard to pass in the House, that language was not moving through the Senate and the White House. So, Mike had to basically make deals with the devils and do what he had to do, in order to fund the government and be able to move on so we can start deliberating 2025 appropriations that has already begun.
Well,
that's why the president has presented the $8 trillion budget to us.
I just don't. I wonder, as a group in Congress, in the House and the Senate, and the president don't have a clue of what they're doing to the American people. They don't live the life that we live. We see the prices continue to skyrocket. But
they know, Moon. They know.
But Clay, they're not trying to change it.
Well, they don't want to change it because they want the power. So, listen, a weakened citizenry is a citizenry that is dependent upon government. And therefore, that citizenry would be more likely to support the continued growth of government, which is the ultimate objective of the establishment faction, which is a huge government faction up here.
Congressman Clay Higgins, my special guest. So, Congressman, when I say everything I'm watching, the border, the finances, the debt, it's by design. This is not accidentally happening to America right now. This is by design.
Yeah, Biden made his immediate actions once he was inaugurated was to reverse the border policies of the Trump administration, which he knew would begin wave upon human wave of illegals crossing into our country. It's just bad. Moon, could I ask you, please, sir? Could I call back in tomorrow? We'll continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm in D.C. I have to step back into this meeting. But
you go right ahead.
God bless you, and thank you for your concern and allowing me to speak.
All right, Congressman, just call and let us know what time. All right, thank you. God bless. All right, please.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and I knew we would have him a short time, but I keep seeing this happen over and over and over again, and Clay has voted against it every time. I don't care if Mike or John Kennedy's vote for it. He's voted against it every time. And, by design. So when you vote for the Democrats, and we can't win the presidency in the House and Senate, when you vote for Democrats, this will stay like this. Now, the problem with that is you got to vote for a Republican. The problem is, look on the left and you go, wow, we got to get the hell away from that. But if you go to the Never Trumper type Republicans, you got a problem. That's why we need conservatives, people that are tough and understand what's going on. This blows my mind. The money that they spend, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. And it's affecting you and me. But I'll say it again, and I've said it many, many times. This is all by design. That border crisis is designed. That money crisis up north is by design. And the design is not for you and me to prosper and to be great. A smart country would never do either. A country that was free, that loved our country, loved our Constitution, and really loved this country, would not let everybody come across that border and would not be north of where we live, would not be spending every penny they can get their hands on, and they didn't care what happened. That smart, God-fearing, constitutionalist-type people would never allow this. So you got to find out who's leading the charge. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, leading the charge for both, with some Republicans going along. And they got us in a bind, folks. But I tell you what, I'm to the point I'd rather shut down the government but here's the problem. They'll do that smart too. They'll say, well, no Social Security checks. Well, no money to this, no money for that. And all of a sudden, the people that deserve their money, they're going to start hollering. But they really ought to vote these people out. That's what we got to do in the fall. We got to find. Democrats should never win again and then find the bad Republicans and throw them out as well. If we don't, folks, this is by design. It's going to continue to happen, except it's going to be a lot worse. We hadn't even as Bongino said, it hadn't been bad enough yet. Unbelievable. All right, but go and take your money, folks. Go ahead and take your money from the Green New Deal and carbon cap. Go and take that money. Because somebody's going to take it. Let's take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. From their humbling beginning, Dino Hardwoods is striving to provide superior service and quality products for their customers. Hey, I know Charles Altman. He does a great job. If you're looking for lumber, Dino Hardwoods stocks a large selection of domestic and import hardwood lumber and cypress. You ought to see their stuff. Exotic lumber, they got that as well. Trust in Dino Hardwoods when it comes to your exotic lumber needs right now. Molding, plywood, paint, and L products, they are ready for you. They got 3 great locations. The corporate office is right here in Broussard, Louisiana. There's an office in Shreveport on 2801 Valley View Drive and one in Tyler, Texas, 12492 Highway 155 North. Hey, if you're looking for something different and something new and somebody who will service you, it's Dino Hardwoods. I'm telling you, don't forget Dino Hardwoods. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Great locations. They can service you. They can deliver. DinoHardwoods.com. Check out this great Louisiana company. Folks, you hear me brag about an advertisement. South Star Urgent Care is the name you need to know. Listen, you look up, you're in the middle of the night, you're looking, God, where do we go? South Star Urgent Care. They open on weekends, they open at night, they can get you taken care of. If you're sick, if you're feeling bad, maybe you coughing, dehydrated, fever, flu, fracture, South Star Urgent Care wants to service you, and they're going to treat you like you want to be treated. They're going to get you in, get you out. You're not going to sit in a dark waiting room for a bunch of times. South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. You can register before you go and set your appointment. Hey, it's really cool. These folks at South Star greet you with a genuine smile and make you feel very comfortable. Folks, you're looking for the perfect urgent care? It's South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. South Star Urgent Care. It's the urgent care you need. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. Hello, Acadiana. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607, the number if you'd like to be part of the program. And I got to tell you, it's the Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. John Blanchard joins us coming out of the next hour with all his finances. But he's going to give you some tips and talk about finance and investment and what's going on and how government plays a big part in what he does. They got to keep up with the rules that are changed every other day. So we'll visit with him. It's good to talk to Clay Higgins, Congressman Higgins. He's voted right. He voted against the horrendous budget of spending another $500 million. I'm sorry, $500 billion, not billion, $500 billion. But I was reading the other day, I shared with you where Kennedy in the newspaper was reporting all this money that's coming to Louisiana, and we get to spend money, and it's for jobs. And I'm going, wow, no clue. No clue. All this stuff's by, here it is right here again. Spending bill passes Congress, millions for Louisiana project. Hey, if that I know, and my attitude needs to be adjusted. Man, I'll be excited. We got millions and more dollars and billions of dollars coming to the state. Look at the jobs it's creating in economic development. Kennedy, our United States Senator, said shutdowns are catastrophic. Hey, John, what happens when you run debt that you can't pay? John's a smart guy now. I said, we're dealing with a very smart guy. If that's catastrophic, what do you call $50 trillion in debt? Prosperity? It turns Louisiana priorities into realities. Our jobs, our communities, and our freedom our focus of this field, our freedom. Wow. I never knew that running up debt gives you freedom. When I was taught, it's a biblical perspective. But I would even ask John Blanchard, running up debt, how does that free? Running up debt, I'm not trying to cut the sentence. I'm saying running up debt does not free you. Running up debt entangles you. Go ask any banker or anybody that deals with finances. If you're running up debt, you're not freeing yourself. You're entangling yourself. Running up debt won't create jobs. Sooner or later, it's going to cost us jobs. I was reading today John Deere tractors in our 150, 200 jobs getting ready to be lost because of the economy and inflation and how everything's costing so much. By the way, speaking of this, budget talks begin legislature as deficit looms. Wow. We just had 4 years of bail, deficits are looming. Well, Jeff Landry's already trying to do something about it now. He's trying to do something about it he came back with a budget, $3 billion left, a lot of it federal money. But I'm trying to find what I was reading. And the House Lawmakers Appropriation Committee began discussing the state's budget. Both asked for a slight increase. Let's see. They heard testimony from the state's Department of Health and Department of Children and Family Services. Both asked for a slight increase to help offset a dip in federal funds and support programs. You see, this is how it works. So we take all this federal money, for these programs, then they run out of money. Then they don't tell you and me that the program was basically run by the federal dollars. So then they go to the state, and I don't want the state to pay for it. So the state says we got to pay for this, and they put it in the budget. Bill Edwards was great at it. Most of the governors were. Well, we're going to have a deficit because over here we need $50 million more. Well, why do you need $50 million more? And here's the part they won't tell you. The media won't tell you. The media will never tell you the truth, ever. And that's just telling you the truth on a conservative or a Christian. So what happened is they'll say, well, just like this one. Both asked for slight increase, offset what? Dip in federal money. See what happens? Waiting on that federal money now. You know, ain't got it. Well, let's run to the state and see if they'll give it to us. What if the state goes, don't have it? What happens to the program? You see, this is happening hundreds and thousands of times right here in the state of Louisiana. Lawmakers have $4 million in surplus and excess fund to spend this year. After that's gone, the state is expected to have a budget shortfall, largely due to temporary sales tax to 0.45 that Paula Pelosi Davis bragged about pushing. And by the way, she's a Republican. Landry sees the deficit, and he's saying that he asked all the agencies to tighten their belt and see what you can come up with. Some bill that was never did. But you see what happens when I read that. I just said, there it is. We start these programs. You get all this federal money in. This is what I'm telling y'all. People that are taking carbon capture credits or money and windmills and solar farms, they're going to get in such a bind. Listen there where you heard this first. They're going to get in such a bind up the road, they're going to be begging the federal government to bail them out. And the federal government's going to be glad to do it, and then they'll own the oil companies and the chemical plants and everything else. Then they can put every rule they want to put on them. That's how this works. This is not negative. I'm just telling you and explaining this how it works. They take grants and all this money to get something going because just like you realize when they start these government or when they do it, I think it's House Bill 2, and we start these projects and they got priority 1, priority 2, all the way to priority 5. And what they do, they know when they get money to start a project, and let's say it was for a state park, and they say they need $10 million, and they start working on it. And all of a sudden, when that project is complete, it costs us $40 million. Why? Because they knew once they got to $10 million to start the project, they knew it was going to cost $40. They start adding to everything they need to add to get done what they need to get done. It ends up costing us a lot more than it normally does. That's government work at best. So when these people in these agencies take these grants from the federal government, They know dang good and well if we can just get it started, we'll get the government to keep paying for it. By the way, that's happening in 50 states, not just in Louisiana. Landry also knocked the business policies of Governor Bill Edwards during last year's governor's race. Of course, the twit writes these arguments undercut at least somewhat earlier this month when Gary Wagner, economist with the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, reported that the state gained nearly 40,000 jobs in 2023. Highest number since 97. What the twit didn't tell y'all, came from a university. And what the twit didn't tell y'all, it's all federal money that created that. That's not the private sector kicking butt. That's the federal government. So anyway, all that and more. John Blanchard next. Don't go nowhere, folks. If you got some Q&A about money, finances, and things of that nature, you're listening to The Moon Griffon Show. Line One is a business telecom provider. Line One specializes in cloud-based communication with superior customer service. If you're frustrated with phone bills you can't understand, endless hold time to customer support, and phone system that is not meeting your needs, then you need to go to Line.One and schedule a free consultation to advance your business phone system. Line One, technology with a human touch. Go to Line.One and tell them Moon sent you. Again, that is Line.One. News Talk, 96.5, KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Financial Studio.
A Trump victory in court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, a short time ago at the House.
On this vote, the yeas are 352, the nays are 65.
A vote that could lead to a ban on TikTok in the U.S.
This bill therefore forces TikTok to break up with the Chinese Communist Party.
Congressman Mike Gallagher and most Republicans are joined by most Democrats, like Frank Pallone, who says TikTok has to dump its Chinese owner ByteDance to stop what TikTok's doing.
Maliciously access Americans' data, promote pro-communist propaganda, and undermine our nation's interests.
TikTok just put out a statement urging the Senate to realize that a ban's impact on the economy would affect over 170 million people and businesses that use the social media app. Fox's Aisha Hasni at the Capitol has talked to some TikTok users against the ban.
They think this is all a conspiracy theory by lawmakers here on the Hill that big government or the Chinese government is spying on them and stealing the information. They really don't see that happening. Other people say they do agree with lawmakers that there might be some information that's being taken by the CCP, but they are okay with that. They feel like it's happening on a daily basis with their own government.
Now to that Trump case. A judge in Georgia has just dismissed
6 of the charges against former President Donald Trump and some co-defendants, all accused of interfering with the state's 2020 presidential election. 3 of the charges are specific to the former president, focusing on his phone call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. A number of charges remain, and the judge will allow prosecutors to seek new indictments. The same judge is expected to rule on whether or not District Attorney Fani Willis will be removed from the case over a potential conflict of interest in hiring a special prosecutor with whom she was in a romantic relationship.
Fox's Evan Brown. Former President Trump's now their presumptive Republican nominee, setting up a rematch with President Biden. America's listening to Fox News.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or your 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Paid for by
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
For many servicemen and women, the battle doesn't end when they come home. And I know, because I too struggle with the invisible wounds of service. Pups for Patriots and Sam literally changed my life. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or a traumatic brain injury, go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more about the Pups for Patriots Service Dog Program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
A message from American Humane.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle, an after school home, a section of my block, a corner to call my own. With my Y, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your Y. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Get ready for something new and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory will bring a fresh perspective, analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C. Josh will break down how each and every story affects you right here in Acadiana. He's engaging, raw, and informative, but he also knows how to have fun with daily features that'll entertain and keep you coming back for more. The Josh Guillory Show, only on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, every weekday at 4 p.m., starting March 18th.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, hour number 2 of the Moon Griffon Show. It is a Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline, 844-766-6607. And without further ado, John Blanchard is here with Matthew James and Wealth Management. Hey, bud, how you doing, man? It's
What's happening,
you,
man? Good. How are you
You're
doing?
Tanned up, man. You're ball gaming. You're traveling a lot. It's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Actually, this is from yesterday. The Lafayette Parish School System had a parish-wide, basically track and field type physical fitness challenge. And then my youngest daughter, she's in the 4th grade. She actually won, and she had a relay race. She won that, and then she came out, I think, 4th overall is what the final number came out to. And I had another one race last night.
Yeah,
I couldn't
by the
go to.
way, John mentioned kid. He got 32 of them.
Divided by something, but that would no. 6 is the number. 6 is the number. You know,
Wikipedia says I got 6, but I got 4.
Yeah. Actually, I was on a flight to Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and the guy sitting next to me, I was talking to him. He had 32 kids. So it's funny you said 32, but he had 32, and I'm not going to go any further with that.
By the way, you feel really good about your 6, don't you?
Yeah. 32.
All right, John. A lot of stuff to talk about, investments and things. Let me start a little on the political side, but they're not really political questions. They're real questions. The main one, and I'll do this, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that you do and things of that nature because I think it's important. But they're not going to quit spending money in Washington. They're not going to quit spending money in Washington. I mean, I know you know that.
Yeah.
They're not going to quit running up debt in Washington. So that means when they do this, the inflationary pressure is going to continue to mount, going up and up and up and up and up. Your comment on that, because I want people to know you got to follow a little bit of everything. And when you're following this, it got to make you nervous because you take investors and you're trying to help them be the best they can be.
Yeah, and look, the inflation's definitely hurting a lot of people. When you're looking at, I mean, golly, whenever I go through a drive-through. I mean, look, we're so busy with our kids between.
Y'all go through a lot of drive-throughs.
Been there, 6 of them in travel sports. It's like you don't have much time to cook at home. So, when you go through a drive-through. It's crazy how much, getting chicken through a drive-through is right now. I mean, it's like it's so easy for me to spend $100 bill when a couple years ago it might have been 60, and even 40. And there's so many different areas where we're seeing such high cost. Even like going on vacations, most areas where you from, let's say travel destination, all in minimum 40% jump in cost. I mean, I remember when we would go we'd go to Destin, which we go every year for the 4th of July. Matter of fact, it was like 2 years ago. I actually drove from Destin, come back because we were doing the live Dan Bongino show.
Yep.
And, it's something how, cost for that basically doubled just for the condo that we would use for 7 days. And it's insane on the pricing. And, that came in place because a lot of that increase was because of homeowners insurance, because of hurricanes. Yep. I mean, looking at people that live in Vermilion Parish, St. Mary, and even, Cameron and all these other parishes, these southern Louisiana parishes, their cost, that inflation cost by itself. We're not just talking about, hot dogs and the buns. We're talking about everything.
No, I'm talking about the cost of living.
Oh, in general.
And listen, and I want you to explain to people, the more they spend, the more we borrow. This never stops. This is going to continue to be a major problem. And it becomes a problem for investing, too. You don't have as much to invest. But I don't think the elected officials get it, John. You see it every day. I see it every day because we live in the real world.
Yeah. We are living in reality. They're living in a fairy tale with an unlimited credit card that they get to spend all the time. And so, we're approaching $35 trillion of national debt, but we also have the unfunded liabilities of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security that we have to deal with too. So it's like how, this extra spending, the amount of money they're spending in Ukraine, these reparation bills that they're like in California and New York and a couple other states and other things that they're trying to push through, they can't afford it,
It's nonstop insanity.
No,
is what I call it.
I've said it before, on your show. I say it on mine on Saturday morning. Most politicians don't know they would fail if they were running a hot dog cart in Manhattan, and they're in charge of passing bills and laws and spending proposals.
I wouldn't want none of them to run nothing.
Zero, zilch.
But the reason I brought that up is because you deal with investments. You deal with people that go, I got money. They might go, I ain't got as much money to invest this month as I've been investing because I'm too busy taking care of my home. Right. You got to be seeing that somewhat.
No, there's a huge difference. So you look at what happened since COVID, where you have, like, whenever the stimulus payments were coming through, there's let's say we're going to put them in subgroups. There's different Americans that did different things with that money. Some people blew it. Okay, that's obviously an irresponsible thing to do. Some people paid off their credit card debt,
which was responsible,
which is very responsible. Some people, maybe they didn't have the debt, but they built up their emergency fund. That's a responsible thing.
Nothing wrong with that.
But some people also didn't have credit card debt. Their emergency fund was already on point, and what they did was they invested it. And so for the people that did that, we saw more new currency get deposited in the stock market than the last 12 years of our stock market's history. So we have to look at what is the behavior of the American. Now, since COVID and since the stimulus payments had stopped, and we got to look at now the inflation that went up, what happened since then? So a lot of Americans drained the savings accounts if they had it, or they got it to a significantly low value compared to what it was before. But also a lot of Americans where our all-time credit card debt balance for Americans was extremely low because of a lot of people paying it off.
Now it's $1.13 trillion.
Now it's at an all-time high, which is scary to look at. And so, and then you're dealing with like interest rates on like, let's say you're trying to refinance your house, or maybe you're buying a new house. Not many people are refinancing their mortgage because you're going from like 4 to 6.8 or something like that. Doesn't make sense.
By the way, they claim 6 interest rates cuts this year. Now I'm hearing none.
Yeah. It's amazing how they started. Yeah, it's because of inflation. We got to look at where we're at, what's going to happen with, even like looking at money market accounts and CDs. We didn't have good rates in the past. Now they're better, but like they're scheduled to go down in the future. But do we know when? We don't know. But we also have to look at how the interest rates affect corporations, because there's a lot of corporate debt on the books, and they don't get like a 30-year loan on corporate debt. No, that renews a very, very often.
Very quick, yeah.
So how is that going to affect the balance sheets of these companies and the cash outlay, and what's going to happen with their labor, and looking at what's happening with AI as well?
But listen, you've been talking for a couple minutes. You mentioned about all the things that's going to affect for one reason, because Congress won't quit spending money and running up debt. And by the way, that $35 trillion that you're talking about, They're projecting that to be in the 50 within the next 5 to 10 years. 50 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
Nobody understands billions. How in the hell are we going to understand trillions?
Yeah.
Think about that. We don't. I can imagine, even like me, I watch it and see billions. God, that's a lot. I understand millions more than I do billions. Nobody understands trillions.
That's a huge number. Huge number. And so, we're guaranteed to see $40 trillion of national debt before the end of the decade. But the fact that they're talking about could be 50 is scary. But we also have to look at what happened in...
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what happened in 08? You could probably bring it up. 08, COVID. What if something drastically happens between now and then that now they got to go print money again to give people to... I mean, this is outrageous. And it's like... And by the way, I'm different. You may not feel this way. I think it's all by design. I don't think nobody's accidentally doing it. We got smart people. There's smart people in Congress. I call them smart asses now because they're not doing anything to help the American people. I don't want them to help me. Don't hurt me.
No.
Get out of the way. I think your clients are going to be more like me. Get out of my way. I don't want you to help me.
And I don't want to be dependent. And I don't want to be dependent. And what they're doing is they're creating a system in place where people become desperate and they become dependent on the system. And that's not a good thing for Americans. I mean,
not in a free country.
No, not at all. And so what's scary is that whenever you look at, there's a lot of people that are worth high 8-figure, even a 7-figure number, or it could be even further. But what happens is you're seeing a mass exodus out of high tax states. So we already see people leaving California and New York. Okay, number one, in New Jersey. And there's a couple others too. But then we also have to look at, okay, now these state officials. So Shohei Ohtani, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the guy that from Japan that signed the Dodgers contract, 10 years.
Play with the Angels, went to the Dodgers.
Yeah, $700 million total 10-year payout. Well, the thing is, he structured his deal to where he's going to get $2 million for the first 10 years of each year, okay? And then he's going to defer the $68 million annual payment until year 11 through year 20. Well, the reason why he's doing it is that he's going to change his residency from California to let's say a tax-free state. Let's go. It could be Florida, it could be Texas, it could be Tennessee, and a couple others out there. The thing is, that by itself, that 13.3% tax he would pay in California, by shifting that $68 million per year. Now, granted, I know our listeners today are not bringing that in a year, but just to give you the example of how people even on the athletic side are looking at it, where just by him changing states and deferring that income, that's going to save him $89 million in taxes. Yeah. Okay?
Real savings.
Real savings. Now, I added up a few things that we can do on our end, like if you called our office, and so we can save him $169 million in total taxes, even with that. So the thing is how to look for tax efficiency, but we have to look at where we're residing. And so luckily we're not in a very high tax state. But you look at the competition on, across the border neighboring us, but a few borders across, you can go to a tax-free state.
No income tax.
Where you have no income tax. Now, there's another, there's a twist to it. But bottom line is we have to look at what's happening and even what these certain states are doing, where the Attorney General and a couple other positions in California are going to try to go after Shohei Ohtani and other people from leaving that state. But even looking at where they're getting desperate is then they're calling to start taxing your unrealized capital gain. How much is your business valued at? Well, from a lending standpoint, it's valued at this, or maybe it has this valuation if I sell it. Oh, we're going to tax you on that. Well, where are you going to come up with the money? Let's say if you have all this land, your land's worth this. You owe us this tax this year. So we got to pay attention to their moves and what's happening. But we have to look at, obviously November is going to make a big determination where our country's headed, but the Trump tax cuts that are enforced are scheduled to end on 12/31 of 25. So the next day, our ordinary income tax rates go up and our long-term capital gains tax rate goes up. The next day.
Yeah.
So,
who you thought?
Yeah.
Who you thought? John Blanchard, Matthew James. I hear about him all the time on this program. We'll take a break, come back. A lot of questions for him. 844-766-6607, Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. You're listening to The Moon Griffon Show. Line One is a business telecom provider. Line One specializes in cloud-based communication with superior customer service. If you're frustrated with phone bills you can't understand, endless hold time to customer support, and phone system that is not meeting your needs, then you need to go to Line.1 and schedule a free consultation to advance your business phone system. Line One, technology with a human touch. Go to Line.1 and tell them Moon sent you. Again, that is Line.1. Oh, Shucks, you've been hearing me brag about Shucks. Been going there for many, many years. Shucks does a great job. If you like seafood, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. I'm telling you right now, there's shrimp, there's oysters, there's fish, all fresh every day right off the boat. So if you want something fresh and you want fresh seafood, you got to go to Shucks. Don't forget, if you're having a party, call Shucks. Let them cater the event for you, or you can go pick it up. Shucks, they're waiting on you. If you want a great time and you want great food, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. Shucks, oh, they're good. Folks, I want to tell you about one of my new advertisers, Adapt Concepts AC Service Repairs. Oh, serving all of Acadiana, surrounding areas, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. Full-service AC and heating company, repairs, installation, and preventive maintenance, which is very, very important. Installation service, professional quality services, focus on creating value for you. Terms of certified technician, 24/7 customer service, and free consultation. I'm talking Adapt Concepts, AC service repairs. You want the professionals, you want the best, this is them. Purchase a qualified high-efficient system for maintenance, plus get a free 12-year parts and labor warranty. Wow, don't you want to know about that? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. Or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com.
Hi, this is...
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you back, folks. Matthew James, Tax Wealth Management Hotline, 844-766-6607 is the number. His name is John Blanchard. John, I just read some Family Dollar and Dollar Tree will close 1,000 stores. We were talking about inflation, which affects the people at the bottom and the middle class more than anybody. And yet these are the type of stores that people go to. And you got 1,000 of them closing. They tell me they don't have the money to spend anymore.
Yeah.
Credit cards already out of it.
Yeah, when you're looking at, there's a lot of American families that are putting groceries and even fast food, things that we consume on a daily basis on a credit card, like they're borrowing the money. And so that's a pretty scary scenario because their fixed income that they're receiving, the amount of money they're receiving, however they're receiving it, it's their insurances have gone up, utility bills have gone up, different all these things. It's like their gas bill goes up, the fuel, all these things that we see that are higher than where they were before, obviously, and so you have less discretionary income, and that becomes an issue. So for the people that have less discretionary income, you're seeing them max out credit cards. Then the people that are in a bind, then you start seeing the payday loan lenders starting to get even busier. And so these are extremely high interest rates, and people are, I've met people like I would have never thought you would be in that. And it's like, look, people fall behind. Maybe they have a medical situation. They were caught in between. They left a job and they didn't have insurance, and then something happened maybe to themselves, their spouse, or one of their kids, and now they got this big bill that they're trying to pay. You got all these different scenarios. These cards that are people are dealt, and so that becomes a big problem for a lot of Americans. And when you're seeing that, something that's the dollar store situation, we're going to start seeing this in other areas. But the other thing too, we got to pay attention to is look at what happened in California. It with Gavin raising the minimum wage on restaurants.
$20.
Wow. Like that, how many, you're going to see more automation. And I've heard this in the past, and I do talk about it a lot, where the future of the American business, when you walk in, you're going to see a human, a dog, and a computer. the human is there to feed the dog. The dog is there to bite the human if they touch the computer. We're going to see more automation. And so we see in certain areas of less jobs. You see things because of either theft at a register or the fact is, like, we can make this kiosk and there's no errors unless it's the input from the customer.
Big. You can answer it real quick because I want to move off to some other stuff. Inflation, the way we're looking at it right now, way worse than tax increases. This is. I'm just making a statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just thinking disinflation is way worse than any kind of tax increase.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. And then, but the thing is, if we see this inflation and a huge tax increase, this is going to be a big issue as well. Yeah. So it's like the combination of those two are going to be detrimental.
Because the government wants theirs. And I tell people, when y'all see these people that are bragging about carbon capture and they're getting all this money, just tell them thank you for causing my McDonald's prices to go up. All right, selling businesses. This is something you deal with every day because when you sell a business, there's capital gains, there's money coming in. Talk a little bit about selling businesses because you specialize in helping people with what's coming after they sell a business. You don't just get the money and everything's good.
Right. So that's a key thing, and we're looking at the silver tsunami right now. Like right now, this year is the biggest year where baby boomers are retiring. There's roughly about 14,000 a day that are turning 65. That's the biggest number ever. Like last couple of years has been averaging around 10. So, but there's a lot of people that are exiting from a business. Maybe their children, if they have children, maybe they don't want to be involved with it. They have their own career. They want to do their own thing. So there's no one, they don't have a family member they can pass that baton to and then run and operate that business. But a lot of people also have taken their extra gains that they have made and reinvested back into their business with the plan of selling it at some point. And so, but at the point of selling it, because maybe they didn't build up a big 401k or a Roth or an IRA or anything or a brokerage account, they have all their emphasis, all that financial reinvestment into their business. So now they're selling it. Most people selling it probably don't have a loan against it, and they probably have depreciated almost every nickel and dime they could. Yeah. So then that complete selling price may be, or if not, let's say it's a 90% of the selling price is going to be a capital gain. Well, the thing is, people selling that business, the biggest hurdle that they have and the biggest struggle is, and the biggest complaint is the amount of taxes they got to pay. So right now, in our state of Louisiana, you have the 20% long-term capital gains on the federal level, the 3.8 net investment income tax, and then the 4.25% on the state tax. So that's 28.05 if the percentage of someone sells, the maximum that you'll pay. So obviously, depending on the sale of the business, you go through 0, 15, and 20 on long-term capital gains rate. But let's just say 28.05. Well, that's a significant amount of money. Whether you're selling an oil and gas company, a grocery store, a convenience store, maybe you're selling a book of rentals.
Hey, hold your thought right there. We'll be right back. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll go right back to it.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. Spring is here, and if you love seafood like I do, you need Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning, and Ragin' Cajun's delicious seafood dinners like etouffee, Creole sauce, shrimp and grits, seafood bisque, gumbo and roux. All Ragin' Cajun products are made right here in Acadiana. Folks, trust me, they are good. Ask for the Ragin' Cajun and all your favorite grocery stores today. Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning. Ask them for the Ragin' Cajun. Oh, man, I love me some Superior Grill. Superior Grill, the best Mexican food in the state of Louisiana, bar none, baby. They are the best, and you're going to love them, too. They got great drinks and food, and the atmosphere is second to none. They know what they're doing. They know how to serve. Hey, folks, you do know they cater. They do cater. Superior Grill, located in New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge, Lafayette right around the corner. You're going to love Superior Grill. You're going to love the atmosphere. You're going to love the taste. They can handle anything you got. Folks, they got happy hours. They really serve the people. and you're going to love Superior Grill. I love it. You're going to love it. I cannot wait to go to Superior Grill. I've been going to Superior Grill now for 29 years. Let me tell you, I know all about Superior Grill. And I want good Mexican food. I'm going to Superior Grill. I want to see you there. We're going to have a blast.
Getting quality this hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. We're honored to have John Blanchard of Matthew James, and, of course, Matthew James. I think it's MatthewJames.com. Am I that close? All right.
On point.
John's going. You better not miss that. Well, we throw the website out there every day when we do the hotline. Let's go back to selling your business, and I'm just guessing with a person like you, you would rather a person that you were working with to tell you about them selling it before than after.
Right, exactly. I mean, look,
there's got to be benefits before than after, huh?
Right, there's benefits before, and then if you didn't do it, then there's things that we could do on the backside that's kind of like, oh, I didn't realize that, so let's do this to be able to lower your tax liability. But beforehand would be great. So in the event you have, let's say if you have a medical practice, if you have any kind of like a service business, oil and gas, it could be anything. If you have, let's say if you have a bunch of real estate and you're tired of collecting rent and fixing toilets and AC units and you want to retire from real estate, well, the thing is, whenever you do that, you can't 1031 the money into something that's, because you're not buying another piece of real estate to take the gain that you have and move it over to the next asset. So what we do is we have a specialized trust that we set up, a deferred tax strategy. And what we do is we have a specialized trust that we set up. We take the proceeds from the sale, so the buyer is paying the trust. Now, you can take money up front in cash, then that's taxable money. But whatever money we put in the trust, you don't pay the 20% long-term capital gain, the 3.8 net investment income tax, and in the state of Louisiana, 4.25. Now, other states, it could be higher. So in this case, you're saving in Louisiana a maximum of 28.05%. in taxes that you would save. So then what happens is now that money's in a trust, and you can reinvest that trust. You can put it in a money market account. You can buy gold. You can put structured CDs. You can buy stock. If you can put it in a managed model, you can do hard money lending. Let's say if you came from selling a business and you thought, you know what, I want to buy some real estate and make it like short-term rentals, or maybe I have a friend that's or my kid has a business and he needs investment. So you can do a private placement. You can invest inside of a new LLC or something like that. You have virtually any opportunity you want within that trust to invest. And what happens is the growth on that trust is tax neutral the way it's set up internally. And the only taxes that you pay is on the money that you take out every year. So let's say, Moon, you had a business, XYZ business, and you sell it, you put your money in this trust. You're not paying a tax on the money going into the trust. Let's say that account grows, let's say at a 10% rate a year. Well, as that account value grows, you're not paying taxes on the gain because it's tax neutral. You're only paying taxes on the disbursement that you're taking on an annual basis. So let's say if you want $100,000 out of the trust, the only thing that's taxable is the $100,000 out of the trust.
That you take
right.
Out, yeah.
Now let's say, okay, you pass away, then your wife is surviving. The trust goes to your wife now.
Correct.
There's no taxes paid. Let's say down the road, your wife passes away. Then it goes to your children. So it becomes a generational wealth tool where the assets inside that trust stay tax deferred, and the only thing that you're paying taxes on is the distribution that you're taking that will hit your checkbook for income purposes. So the thing is, people are looking to sell, but then they're looking at, okay, wait, I have this big tax bill. Like, we've met people that called us after the deal's done. So if you receive constructive receipt, you've received the money, we can't do the trust. That is game over. We cannot do that. Now, we have other levers that we can pull to help offset that.
I would think, and I think you're making a case for people out there that are going to sell their businesses to, if they don't call you, call somebody. Okay, you'd rather them call you, and that's what we want you to call you. But if they don't, they ought to call before, just to make sure, because they may be leaving a lot of money on the table. You've already taught me that, okay, it ain't the amount you take, it ain't necessarily the amount you get. It's how much you get to keep after you get it. And so the tax part of the money on a business that you sold should matter to you. Because if you look up and say, man, I'm getting $2 million from my business, great. But you might not be getting $2 million for your business once you take out the taxes and penalties and everything else that goes with it.
Right. So that's a big thing when you're looking at the total amount, because when let's say if you sell a business for $2 million, you're paying $561,000 in taxes. So what if you can keep the $561 in the account and let that grow and appreciate in value over time? That's a big deal.
But see, that's why I'm making a big deal about what you're saying. There are people listening to this program that are either selling their business or thinking about it, and they owe it to themselves to talk to John Blanchard.
Yeah,
they just owe it to themselves.
Yeah, and look, this is a proprietary trust, so this is not something that you can just go through the yellow pages and find an attorney that can do this. No, this is a specialized trust. Like who I'm using for this is not even local.
Yeah.
They're out of state, and I was very fortunate to get access to them to offer this to people. So we have people that we're helping sell in oil and gas companies, convenience stores, printing shops, grocery stores. People have shopping centers.
I was offered $20 million for my program, but I got to move out the state. I can never come back. I'm just letting you know. I was only offered $20 million. If I get the hell out and leave tomorrow, $20 million. That's a pretty good deal.
That's 20 million is 20 million. And your son sitting across is looking, wait, I can inherit some of that. Pops, I think you should move.
He's going to follow me. No, but you make a point, and that's the point I wanted to make. If you are selling a business, real estate, you can't just go to an attorney. You can't just go to anybody. John is one of those guys at Matthew James that you can go to and talk to about this.
Yeah.
You're trying to help them save. If they're getting and it ain't got to be, let's back up, it ain't got to be $2 million, it might be $500,000.
Yeah.
It could be any number, amount of money, but if you're trying to do that, you really ought to talk to somebody before the sale. After the sale's still good, but before the sale's better.
Absolutely, 100%. This has to be done before the sale's taking place. It could be done the day before. As long as it's set up to receive the money, that is where you're able, from the IRS standpoint, we have all those things checked off. You can save the taxes.
I want to jump back to something you mentioned earlier about the Trump tax cut. So in 2025, we got a new president. If it happens to be Trump or someone like that, then they probably going to try to keep it. They got to win the House and the Senate. But if they don't, you made an interesting point. People are going to be hit pretty hard, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
They said only the rich people got a tax break from Trump, which was not true.
Everybody got a tax break from Trump. And so
you might have not got a check back, but when you filed your taxes, you probably realized it.
Right, exactly. And so the thing is, we're going to see that the bracket is going to tremendously shrink on the bandwidth between each tax bracket, and the percentages are going to go up. Now, we've been looking at selling like long-term capital gains. That's going to go up from 20 to 25. Now, Biden's first month and a half in office, he was trying to push it from 20 to 39.6.
Yeah.
So and
they goes back in and they win the House and Senate, he might do it.
Yeah, and they can and they will. And then the thing is, that's something that we have to look at. Also, the death tax, the estate tax. So that's 40%, okay, above the limit. But the thing is, they're looking at lowering the limit and at least keeping the 40% the same. It might even be more. So we got to look at the desperate moves they're making, because what they're preaching, those specific politicians are preaching, is that rich people are evil. Wealthy people are evil.
Watch it again. They cranked it up again.
It's sad to see, because the sacrifice that those people have taken, the credit cards that they had to ring up, the things that they didn't do from a social standpoint. Look, I'm a business owner. There's a lot of things that I don't do that I wish I could do, but I'm an entrepreneur. We have a growing business. I have employees and all this other stuff. So the thing is, we have to look at their message
they don't even care about you.
No, they don't. But the thing is, they really hate me even more because we're saving people in taxes. Yeah. But the thing is there are strategies out there for people. So the thing is, if you're an active business owner and you're maybe not ready to sell yet, but maybe you have a pretty sizable 6-figure, even 7-figure tax bill. Are you okay writing that check when it comes down to filing your taxes? Probably not. So the thing is, we have about 30 to 32 different strategies that we can help business owners or self-employed people reduce their tax bill 80, 90, 95%.
And so that's big dollars.
That's a huge thing. We have people coming in that have $600,000 tax bills that we reduced it down just because, and we didn't do all the strategies. We reduced it down to about $75,000-$80,000. That's a big number. That's a big number. So the thing is, it's we got to look at, you worked hard, you paid taxes on all these other fronts, and the U.S. tax code is designed for business owners, not for W-2 employees. So the thing is, if you're a business owner, we have to look at, okay, what can you do? What do you want to do? So we have an assortment of questions that we're going to ask to figure out, okay, what's your focus, what's your goals, what's your needs, what's your wants, and let's use the tax code to benefit you.
Yeah, do it before, not after. Let's take one more break. We'll be back with Mr. John Blanch. I do have one big question outside of this, but it's, once again, you got to look at the politics and what's happening in the law. That's why you got to follow. We'll be right back. Spring is here, and if you love seafood like I do, you need Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning, and Ragin' Cajun's delicious seafood dinners like etouffee, Creole sauce, shrimp and grits, seafood bisque, gumbo and roux. All Ragin' Cajun products are made right here in Acadiana. Folks, trust me, they are good. Ask for the Ragin' Cajun and all your favorite grocery stores today. Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning. Ask them for the Ragin' Cajun.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass grading, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's SEA like the ocean, SAFE.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah.
Everywhere you.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Fawn Show. It's great to have John Blanchard in the house. And a couple more questions in the last few seconds. Go to MatthewJames.com, MatthewJames.com. John and him answer all your questions. We've been talking a lot about the selling businesses and real estate. Real quick before I get back to what you do, I asked this to send it to John Kennedy, and I had Congressman Higgins on today. What happens? You know, people are buying the debt of the United States of America. I mean, our rating went down. We got the UN word about the United States of America. But Joe Biden and the rest of them dudes in Congress, they could care less. So I asked this to John. I said, okay, John. John made a comment. He said, Moon, as long as they're buying our debt, we're going to be okay. Great. What happens when they stop buying our debt? He goes, we're in for a disaster. My question to you is, if you were a country, why would you want to set up where you might can have a disaster? Why wouldn't you want to stop it? Do you agree with that? If they quit buying our debt, I mean, where does all American people go? It's like I told you, I got 4 credit cards, I can't pay them, my salary ain't high enough, I'm in debt, and then you go, well, they let you go file bankruptcy, but they're not going to let the United States go file bankruptcy.
This is a big scare. Because if foreign governments aren't going to be buying our debt, this is a big problem. So you have Americans.
It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time, and then you're going to look at what happened in other countries in Southern Europe, South America. What happened to them? And so we're headed in the wrong direction. And we have this combination of storms. Like just think if we were dealing with a tsunami, a tornado, a hurricane, earthquakes, snowstorm,
all at one time.
Extreme heat, all at one time. This is what we're heading to financially as a country, which is a big problem. And so, you have a lot of people working hard and also people that are about to retire, maybe already did. And so how is that going to affect you as an American citizen? And so that's a big issue when you're looking at the inflation that we're dealing with.
People keep voting for the same people to keep doing this.
No, and the sad thing is, like, so many people are focused, and it's like you see that small percentile of these little bitty things that have really don't matter for our country. You know, they're spend more time talking about transgender stuff instead of the real financial foundations that we have to be worried about. And so the thing is, it's they're looking at these emotional things when we have to look at these concrete things that we have to fix.
Yeah,
and so that's a big issue.
One other comment, because I want to go back. I made this comment 1,000 times, and I've talked to so many bankers and people that understand finances. There's nothing fundamental about our money anymore. There's no respect for money anymore. You don't believe me? See what they're doing. When you do that, you get thy rear end slammed. That's what happens. And it's I'm actually, I know that don't sound like a biblical quote, but we're gonna read what we sow. And you don't have any respect for money, it's gonna hurt you. And boy, let me tell you something. When it hurts us, people are laughing at me, going, "I know what you're talking about." They're all out here running. The attitude of people here is, well, they're gonna give the money to somebody. We may as well take it. That's a bad attitude in my book.
No. You want to be very smart about what you're doing with your money, paying off your debt, being a good steward with your money.
With the country,
having a
though,
good
as
foundation.
well.
And yeah. The thing is, it's like, as individuals, we can only control ourselves. So we have to be personally responsible. But the thing is, you got to look at, okay, the things that they're pushing through, what's the cause and effect of that? So future taxes, what are we looking at? So majority of people's net worth is tied up in 401ks and IRAs. This is something that we have to look at because you have a major tax lien on these accounts. So 403b, 401k, traditional IRA, SEP, simple, the defined benefit plan, all these accounts, unless they're structured as a Roth, they are subject to higher taxes in the future.
But I was going to talk about 401ks and all that going to a Roth. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
how that helps them and things of that nature.
This is a huge thing that we have to look at because this year and next year are for sure the two last years scheduled of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the Trump tax cuts. So we have to look at shifting assets when it's appropriate and appropriate amounts over to a Roth. Lock it into a 0% tax rate. This is what most politicians are doing with their money. And a lot of wealthy people. I mean, look at Peter Thiel. He has over $5 billion in a Roth. You can't tax that. Now, the death tax is subject to it. But the thing is, for having that money that you're going to use in the future as an income stream, great. Because we meet so many people and help so many people out in our office that have a high seven-figure, like a $2.5, $3 million, $5 million IRA or 401k, and then they go calculate how much money they actually deposited in there. If they would have put that same amount of money in a Roth, because it's when you look at over a time span and compounding, and that would have been in a Roth, that would have been 100% tax free. So we have to look at what can we do to help people out. So there's obviously they're just paying the tax, but then we have other options. We have levers that we can pull from tax planning where we can make donations or we can make investments in alternatives that actually give you a serious upfront deduction. So, like, let's say if we use oil and gas. If you're pro oil and gas, let's say, okay, you make an oil and gas investment, a specific one. Well, you get a 92% deduction on the amount of money that you place in. So let's say if you put in $100,000 into this account, it's oil and gas related, you get a $92,000 deduction from your income, your taxable income. That's a big thing. So let's say if you had $92,000 you want to convert from your IRA to your Roth, you make this one investment, you get, and then you can move, basically you're moving over the money from your IRA to your Roth, $92,000, and you won't pay any taxes doing it.
That's incredible.
So the thing is, what if you did $500,000? What if you did $1 million? So the thing is, we have to look at what's appropriate for you. What lever should we pull? What strategy? Because sometimes we're meeting a lot of people that are behind the eight ball on converting over, and we want to do it at a lesser tax rate. We want to maximize shifting this money over because this is going to help you out while you're retired, whether you're married or single. But let's say you are married, then one person in the marriage passes away. So then you get the widow tax. So you go from married filing, joint filing to a single filer. That is a huge tax bill increase. And then from there, whenever those assets that you don't use that haven't been taxed yet transition to the next generation to a non-spouse beneficiary, they have 10 years to withdraw from that account to zero it out. The government knows that is where they're going to make the most of their money. And so we got to look at this.
They've already spent all that,
and it's already spent. They just need to receive the revenue. So what we have
I know,
to
but
do
it's already spent. Trust me.
I know. It's sad, but it's all about planning, looking where you are and how can we transition you most efficiently, and that's the ideal thing that we have to look at.
Yeah, no doubt about it. His name is John Blanchard. Yeah, John. I was going to say, with the. And I don't even care where you stand on this. I'm so a disbeliever in climate change and the Green New Deal. I think all that's a lie. But they're getting involved in banking. I got a guy coming on the next hour with this ESG stuff that's causing problems for people in other areas. SEC just got involved. I mean, it's. What you're talking about oil and gas investments? They're going all of a sudden, if you're an oil and gas investment, they're going to hold that against you.
So listen, I don't know if you've heard this one. There's a certain state. I have to go back and look at which one it is. It might be California too. It sounds like I'm picking on them, but they come up with the
pick on them. They're the ones that come up with this.
They come up with the craziest stuff. So the new one that I've heard is that they're trying to push through a bill that is tying your energy bill to the amount of taxes that you pay. So they have 3 tiers of income. So the highest tier, which is it's only like $150,000 or $175,000 of taxable income. The amount of taxes that you have to pay because of your energy consumption is ridiculous.
It's that whole thing. Look, here's one right here. I just shared with the audience. The pizzerias and the pizza places in New York. They gone to them and told them that they can't. These people that are using coal and fire and that, it costs them $500,000 to fix what they got to fix, so they don't pollute anymore. Over 100 of them could go out of business. See, if it was me, get it together with 100 people, so let's all go out of business, see what they say. Put all these people out of work. Let's just drop back and see what they do. Then you start making them do common sense thing. It is, but that part of it has gotten into finance. I'm getting ready to talk to somebody about the ESGs and how crazy that's gotten to be. And that's in your business too, because it's banking, it's money, it's investment, and how crazy the federal government has become.
Yeah,
John, I appreciate your honesty, because they're not going to quit printing money.
No, they're not.
And if they don't, all the things you're talking about, it's even more important to come see you.
Exactly.
Because you're going to help them the best way you can. Doing nothing while they acting a fool in Washington, D.C. is absolutely incredible. And once again, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no
God
problem.
bless you, brother.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you need to come back more often.
Yeah, no, I do.
You don't come back enough. I just want to let you know that.
I've been busy, but no, there's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of strategies, a lot of stories, a lot of examples, and a lot of news that we need to discuss.
Try to make it back maybe the 1st of April.
Yeah,
right before tax time.
Look, yeah, no kidding. And look, if people have questions, they feel free to call our office. Our number is 337-366-8366, or you can find us online at MatthewJames.com.
It is. All right, folks. Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good day.
Another hour to go. Rest of y'all leaving. God bless. We'll see you then.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Financial Studio.
TikTok, time's up. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. A convincing House vote, 352 to 65, to force TikTok to divest of its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, and its ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Fox's Chad Pergram on how the vote happened.
One thing I would note is that there are more Democratic no's here than Republican no's. There's only a few. One of the things that we were looking for going into this vote was whether or not some of the concern by former President Trump might push down the support for this bill in the House of Representatives, although this is a wide bipartisan vote. I'll also direct you to the one present vote that is on the scoreboard. That is Jasmine Crockett, who is a freshman Democrat from Texas. She is voting present, and so that does not count toward the vote total here, either in the yay column or the nay column.
TikTok's response claims the bill was jammed through for one reason. It's a ban, asking the Senate to reconsider. But Senate Intelligence Committee leaders, including Marco Rubio, are endorsing the House vote, a good sign the Senate will pass it. And this breaking news, the Fulton County judge in Georgia overseeing the Georgia election interference trial of Former President Donald Trump is now dismissing some of the charges. Fox's Eben Brown.
Judge Scott McAfee in Fulton County, Georgia, is dismissing 6 of the charges against former President Donald Trump and some co-defendants, all accused of interfering with the state's 2020 presidential election. 3 of the charges are specific to the former president, focusing on his phone call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. A number of charges remain, and the judge will allow prosecutors to seek new indictments. The same judge is expected to rule on whether or not District Attorney Fani Willis will be removed from the case over a potential conflict of interest in hiring a special prosecutor with whom she was in a romantic relationship. Eben Brown, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or your 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Deja vu all over again. Primary voters have picked Joe Biden and Donald Trump as their party's nominees for president in 2024. Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House.
Joe Biden now has the delegates to be the Democratic nominee. And he's saying in a statement in part, he thinks that freedom and democracy are at risk here at home in a way they have not been since the Civil War. That is as Donald Trump also now crosses the threshold delegate-wise. And he is saying, it is my great honor to be representing the Republican Party as its presidential nominee. Our party is united and strong and fully understands that we are running against the worst, most incompetent, corrupt, and destructive president in the history of the United States.
But wait, there's more. RFK Jr., the Democrat turned independent, vows to be on all 50 states' ballots within 6 weeks. Some big names on his VP shortlist, including NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers and pro wrestler turned governor Jesse Ventura. The Biden campaign will base its operations out of Milwaukee.
President Biden travels to Milwaukee, Wisconsin today for what White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says is an administrative visit, while he also pitches for another 4 years.
The president will share how this administration investments are rebuilding our communities and creating good-paying jobs.
With a focus on Black and Latino voters and women, though demographics for which multiple polls have shown the president losing support over the economy, inflation, and the ongoing border crisis. The president's stop in Milwaukee just months ahead of former President Donald Trump's increasingly likely visit to the city this summer to accept his party's presidential nomination. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Denver is on track to see the most snow it's had in 3 years. Snow begins falling in Colorado today, goes into Friday, dropping 2 to 4 feet in the mountains with a foot of snow possible for Denver. I'm Therese Crowley. This is Fox News.